Well, hello, hello.
You said it this time.
I did. I'm back.
Back and ready to attack.
It was so weird to hear you say it last time.
You listened?
Of course I did.
Oh my god. I'm embarrassed. I didn't think you would listen.
You talked a lot of shit about history, so...
That's why I was hoping you didn't listen.
So whatever. But no,
My mom listened to it, so...
That's good.
We got at least 2 listens, so...
Amazing.
So...
Well, it's good to be back.
A little hiatus. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate the gift of a break, because Lord knows I need one. What?
The universe won't give you one, but I will.
It's true. It was a bit of a forced break. Jamie was right in saying that I do a lot of things. And sometimes...
Too many.
sometimes I don't know when to stop doing things. So when Jamie asked what I wanted for my birthday, jokingly, I was like, a break. And she was like, well,
okay.
I can't help with a lot of things to give you a break from, but I can do the podcast. And I was like, oh, amazing.
Take what you can get.
Oh, 1000%. And it was so nice. But at the same time, I missed it.
We're doing like our first ever abroad session.
Oh, we sure are.
We'll be in a foreign place together for once.
We will. We're not going to give away too many details yet because it's going to be a really fun episode and I'm really excited about it. But we're going to do kind of like almost on location.
Let's do a meet and greet.
Oh my god, can you imagine?
Anyway, so it'll be super exciting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
Not that you guys can see or experience anything, but...
Well, that's what Instagram is for.
Yeah, the vibes. We'll take pictures.
Maybe we'll do a live stream. How fun would that be?
Stream it on our
Instagram. How fun would that be?
Could also stream it on our YouTube.
We could.
Dual stream.
Ooh. Spicy.
Boomtown.
Boobtown.
Boobtown. Boobies.
Not Boobtown. Okay, look. Jamie's not allowed to make fun of me because another big reason I wasn't recording is because I've been sick for 3 weeks. I have strep throat.
And what does that have to do with your boobs?
It has nothing to do with my boobs.
Show us your boobs.
Okay, you've seen them. You know you can see them whenever you want. Anyway, it's given me a bit of a speech impediment because I've barely talked for like 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, you were sick.
I still am sick.
You don't sound it anymore.
Well, thank God. I'm on antibiotics for the next 10 days. So...
Antibiotics, antipsychotics, antidepressants.
It's all of the above are correct, and none of them are working.
I mean, do you have anything else you want to update the people on before we get into things?
Y'all, my life is a whirlwind these days.
Yeah, have you ever heard of that true crime case where that guy he died in a toilet? Caitlin, your life is like him.
My continual favorite phrase is if you can't laugh at yourself, you might as well kill yourself. So, ha 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 ha. I'm Kate.
And I'm Jane, and this is Creeps and Coffee,
a show where we talk about the dark parts of the world around us.
Cryptids, conspiracies, things that go bump in the night.
And the crimes behind the scariest creatures of all, humans.
Join us as we take a look at the stories sure to give you the creeps.
Pull up a seat, grab a coffee,
and let's have a chat.
You should talk often with the old ones of your tribe. That is the only way to learn.
I'll get you a hot drink, miss.
I've done some dry clothing.
Chuck Swirsky. I just made a giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper nerds. My brother is wearing the other one. But it's dirty. What you done put my time?
As far as I can tell, a massive electric shock. He died instantly. The generator?
Boom.
Boom.
What the heck?
You know what? I ask myself that often.
Just, what the heck?
What the heck?
What was that?
Some crazy stuff.
That was me at the meteor I saw last night.
Oh my
I
god.
said, what the heck? I thought it was a spaceship at first, and I was
It
like,
was definitely not.
it was
Definitely
not. But
not
it was
spaceship.
blue, and it was a meteor burning up in the atmosphere.
Very cool.
I said, what the heck? I actually used a few other choice words, but I was excited.
Can confirm. She did do that.
So yeah, what is it, Kate? What was this? What happened?
So the audio we just heard is
Spooky.
it is spooky. But it's kind of one of the, how do I explain this? It's equal parts one of the most famous audios in the sort of mystery world. And at the same time, I feel like not a lot of people talk about it. Outside
Like,
of the sort of true crime, conspiracy, mystery communities.
Especially younger people, because this happened so long ago. Like, when I brought it up to, like, my grandparents and my parents, they were like, sounds vaguely familiar. But if I brought it up to, like, any of my friends or, like, younger people, they're like, the what?
The who?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we're gonna kind of do before we really talk about what that audio was and why it's so creepy is we're just gonna chat about England in 1985. So, what I want you to picture is,
I'm closing my eyes. Describe it to me.
for those of you who can't see Jamie, which is all of you, she just fully sat up straight with her eyes closed like she's meditating.
Yes,
I have
teacher.
full control right now. So, we're in England. It's 1985. 2 IRA members are jailed for 35 years at the Old Bailey for plotting the bombing campaign across London during
Jesus.
1981. It is a time of change. It is a time of political divide. It is a time for growth in terms of, I guess, the British mindset as it expands to join the rest of the Western world. So, Britain, 1985, is a wild place. One thing that is, I guess, a big indicator for where a society is and where I guess the world at large is television. Particularly from the 80s and 90s. That gives us a very big indication of sort of what societal norms were, what the standards were, what was going on, what was popular. So lots of different channels are showing lots of different circumstances, depending on what access people have. So we're going to start by talking about Channel 4. So Channel 4 is a British public broadcast TV station, like any other sort of TV station. It's very similar to the BBC, where it's publicly funded, just a little bit less accessible than the BBC, whereas like the BBC was made for kind of everybody. Channel 4 was a little bit more like specific in its programming, I guess. But among their programs that were listed on Channel 4, they hosted a music video program which was very, very similar to the original MTV and BET, where the channels, for those of you who remember, and I feel like I'm dating myself by saying this, used to just be straight music videos.
Mm-hmm.
It was...
Oh, I remember that.
It was amazing. You would sit and wait for your favorite music videos to premiere on MTV. There would be hosts, like, giving background and interviews with the artists. So just picture that, but British.
Okay.
So these typical music programs, like MTV, like BET, like whatever it would have been called on Channel 4, they had hosts, right? They had what you call, you would consider them radio jockeys or video jockeys, I guess, because it's not radio, where their main goal is to...
Video killed the radio star.
Exactly. Boom. Talk about music. So they had these jockeys to keep people entertained between the videos. A lot of times there wouldn't be introductions and it would just be continuous videos. But for times when people were more likely to be sitting and watching instead of just listening to music in the background or whatever the case may be, they had these video jockeys to sort of keep momentum and, like I said, do the interviews and stuff and talk about current events that were introducing the music to the world, that sort of thing. So there was a guy who worked for Channel 4 as a director named Rocky Morton, who realized that Channel 4 needed something like that as well. If they wanted to compete with channels like MTV, which was popular mainly in North America, but started becoming a very, very popular aspect of television worldwide, because music was one thing that everyone could connect on. Rocky really was set on having that sort of video jockey character to present, I guess, the vibe that they were going for on Channel 4. However, for those of you who don't know British humor and British society very well, it's quite different from what we're used to, at least in Canada.
Yeah.
Not in a shocking way, but just very distinctly different. And Mr. Morton didn't think that the British youth would connect with the stereotypical video jockey who was upbeat and quirky and youthful and, like, you can picture it. Like, if you picture someone who worked for MTV in the early 2000s, like, just super...
Frosted tips, baggy shirt.
Like, all out there trying, like, one by the youth for the youth. You know what I mean? Like, they were the cool people that you looked up to, connected with. They vibed with all of the music, no matter what it was. They were just, like, really energetic and really out there. Rocky was like, nah, that's not gonna fly in England. They're gonna completely take the piss out of someone who's acting like that and trying to be something that they're not, which is completely fair.
Yeah.
Instead, he posited that British youth would prefer a more cynical, ironic kind of humor. And in his mind, that meant more of a conservative adult man trying to connect with the youth. And he found a lot of humor himself in creating this character in a suit and tie who was trying to connect with the youth of England, but failing miserably because he was just too boring and just really trying to do all that he could without having any sort of social skills with young people. He also believed that this character should be computer generated to make it feel even more, I guess, robotic and more stiff, because the stiffer and more awkward that this character was, the funnier it was going to be to see him try and connect with music that was so not what you would picture someone of that description listening to. So thus, the character named Max Headroom was born. Now, the name Max Headroom is really defining when it comes almost want to say conspiracy, but just not even conspiracy, but just mystery, because of the audio that we heard at the beginning of the show. But in order to understand that audio, and in order to understand why that character in particular was chosen to speak that audio, we're going to talk a little bit more about the character himself and who Max Headroom is. When Rocky sat down with the team to come up with the Max Headroom brand, I guess, the inspiration behind what Channel 4 was going to be, they decided that they were going to go with this CGI theme, and they were going to kind of tackle it head on by introducing this character to the British audience with a made-for-TV cyberpunk film called Max Headroom 20 Minutes into the Future.
Right.
So, you know, a basic way to introduce a host is you make a cyberpunk...
I would have been very interested, to be fair.
You would have. 1,000%. So, this made-for-TV cyberpunk film, which I love to say, was the character's origin story. So it gave a bit of a background on why this CGI robotic character existed in the first place. So in the film, the main character, Edison Carter, who was portrayed by a Canadian-American actor, actually. So I'm going to take credit for that. An actor named Matt Frewer. Edison Carter is a journalist. He is a news journalist who tackles some pretty serious cases, doing all this crazy stuff. He ends up kind of pissing off the wrong people, and in the main plot of the movie, he is fleeing enemies into a parking garage. And as he's doing this, he's fleeing on his motorcycle because he's a cool badass guy. You know how journalists are.
Yeah.
Everyone is cool has a motorcycle. He ends up crashing his motorcycle through an entrance barrier of this parking garage, like the thing that goes, the stick thing that goes up and whatever. Yeah. So this barrier has a sign on it that reads maximum headroom 2.3 meters. So
whoa.
Obviously the signs, because the UK is kind of weird, they have different signs for different things. So instead of what we would see in our parking garages as a sign that says maximum height, they would say maximum headroom.
Wow.
So, yeah. So basically, for those who don't know, it would be like the clearance space once that barrier is lifted. So he crashes into this sign that says max headroom 2.3 meters. Edison Carter's knocked unconscious because motorcycles do not protect you from crashes, shockingly enough.
Dangerous.
And as he's on the ground unconscious, an AI program based on his mind is created. He's got all of this crazy stuff happening in his brain. He's got all these stories from his work as a journalist. So his mind creates this character. And because the last thing he saw was a sign that says max headroom, that's the name that the character comes up with for itself. So this AI uses its personality to become a TV host, naturally, who...
AIs have dreams too, you know.
It's true. But he can only exist on broadcast signals and computer systems. So...
It's all clicking for me.
Yeah, there you go. It will click for you guys, too, I promise. Right now, it just sounds whack.
You're like, what is happening right now?
And that's fair. So like Edison Carter would do in his news journalism, Max Headroom uses his broadcasting abilities to challenge corporations that are running the world using commentary and sarcasm, instead of Edison Carter's journalism and wit and facts. He uses sarcasm and personal commentary. So that's who Max Headroom is.
Wow.
Now, fun fact, the actual like CGI aspect of it wasn't CGI, because it's 1985. Technology's good. There's CGI programs, but not consistently available for what they were hoping for. So the end goal of Max Headroom, obviously, like we said, Max Headroom 20 minutes into the future is just the introduction to who the character is, that hopefully Channel 4 is going to use more consistently. So they want to have him as a regular creation, and it was just too expensive and unrealistic to think that Channel 4 was going to be able to create this fully computer animated.
It's expensive now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous now. So he was not actually computer generated. So Matt Frewer, the voice of Max Headroom and Edison Carter, had to wear latex and foam prosthetic makeup every time they filmed, and he wore a fiberglass suit to make him look like robotic and fake, just to give that sort of almost
None of
like
that sounds good or comfortable.
it's almost like an uncanny valley sort of experience where it looks human, but you know that it's not. There's just something a little bit off about it. Frewer talked a lot about how it took about 4.5 hours to put the entire costume on, and how he hated every second of it, which is fair, because I used to do some levels of like special effects and prosthetic makeup, and it's a bitch. So the only thing that was actually computer generated about the Max Headroom character was the background.
Oh.
So his background, we'll post a picture of it on our Instagram, but if you Google it and look up any videos from Max Headroom, you can see it looks very 80s, like staticky and like almost comic-esque lines, and it's very like very 1980s, I would say, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
So that's Max Headroom. So 2 days after this made-for-TV cyberpunk film was broadcast, Max Headroom was introduced through Channel 4's newest show called The Max Headroom Show, which was an opportunity for this Max Headroom character to introduce music videos, make comments on to make social commentary about what was going on with the videos, what was happening in Britain at the time for the youth, various topics like that. And then eventually he would get to a point where he would interview guests in front of a live studio audience and have that connection that any normal disc jockey or video jockey would have, but with that little British comedy twist. Eventually, it got so popular during its second and third year that the Max Headroom show also aired in the US on the channel Cinemax, which is an old channel that I don't know if that TV program even exists anymore. He also ended up becoming a global spokesperson for New Coke when Coca-Cola changed their recipe.
When they stopped having cocaine in it?
I don't know if it was at that point, but when it was, I think they changed the sugar quantity or something like that, or like started, I don't know.
Lame.
Anyway, they called it New Coke, and he was sort of the spokesperson for that, and he had the catchphrase, "Catch the wave," which was super groundbreaking, you know?
Oh. Okay.
But unfortunately, after a little bit, the show would be canceled. Just with times changing, people weren't really watching shows like that anymore, which was fair. Matt Frewer would play Max Headroom and Edison Carter again in the future on a American show that was adapted for Max Headroom, just called Max Headroom, on ABC in 1987, but that show was canceled during its second year. So, not the most popular, but they tried. They really tried. So, all that to say, this character was a big part of youth culture. It was someone that people recognized distinctly for his look. That sort of uncanny valley experience where this character looks human, but there's something a little bit off, and his voice is robotic. It's a little bit off. It was a very, very distinct aspect of British culture specifically, but it ended up becoming worldwide. So it was widely recognized at the time. Like Jamie said, obviously now it's a little bit different. We don't really see a lot of TV hosts becoming popular anymore. I mean, you look at shows like Ellen that are like Ellen, Oprah, Dr. Phil, I guess, are the main like talk shows that I remember watching growing up, and they're sort of being phased out now. Think of Max Headroom as a character sort of like those figureheads, where he wasn't just a random character. He had a purpose for the culture at the time. He made social commentary, and he was a character that a lot of youth in particular really resonated with because they enjoyed watching his stuff. So he was someone that played an important role in particularly in social commentary, and I mean even from the origin of the character, speaking out on things without really caring what the opinion was, and just letting other people know that different opinions were there, which was sort of not unheard of, but not necessarily as common as it would be now, where we're a lot more comfortable with the sort of free speech aspect of broadcast.
I knew literally none of that beforehand, so this feels more meaningful now.
Boomtown. That's what I'm here for. God, it feels good to be back.
The context makes it feel more important.
So that's the thing. So you've got this character who is now defunct, aside from, let's say it's 1987 now.
You got a canceled TV show.
You've got a canceled TV show. You've got, at this point, they're in talks for that American version of Max Headroom to continue, but it doesn't really continue very long. So not a lot is happening in the world of Max Headroom and that character. But then you get an audio like the one that was played at the top of the show. Where did that audio come from? Because I can tell you right now, it wasn't Max Headroom.
No. It was an imposter. Bum, bum, bum.
What?
Well, to be fair, we don't know who it was, actually.
That's true.
So the audio that you heard, I'll also preface this by saying, if you couldn't understand what he was saying...
Join the club.
Yeah, it's totally okay. There is a script, I guess you could say. Like, you can follow along if you want to, like, listen to it again.
A transcript, yeah.
Yeah, transcript, that's the word. And actually figure out what he's saying, because if I didn't have the subtitles, no idea. Not a dang clue. Or if you want to also watch it on YouTube, you get the visual effects as well.
And we will have a link to the video as well.
Because there's a butt, a full bare naked butt in there. You got lots of weird stuff going on. There's gloves, there's possibly a woman's hand, we don't know. But yeah, this is important because it was the world's first piracy incident on national television. So, November 22nd, 1987, an unidentified person intercepted a broadcast of Doctor Who in Chicago, and the perpetrator was wearing a Max Headroom mask. And it was one of those ones that, like, fully covers your face, like that William Shatner one. Our good friend Will.
Yeah, our close personal friend.
Yeah, exactly. And
I constantly forget that we saw him.
Me too, until somebody brings it up and I'm like, oh, speaking of, I know him. But it was crazy because nobody had ever done that before. Like, nobody had ever, like, intercepted national... I don't even know what you call it, like...
A national broadcast. Like, it wasn't...
Yeah.
It wasn't
And so,
like
families at home were like, we're gonna die. Like, what is happening? Someone has broken into...
I would have felt so okay. I want all of you right now to pause this and go watch the video.
Yeah.
Because I would have felt that exact same way. If I saw pop up on my screen, I would have been like, oh, okay, we're all gonna die. Gotcha.
Well, and also because, like, TVs and stuff were still relatively new. They were still... They had, like, 6 channels they could choose from. And when you turn TVs on and off, there was static that comes from the TV that would shock you.
Days.
And, like, you had to put the antennas up in the right way to get, like, a signal.
But yeah, and God forbid you messed with those antennas, especially if there was a sports game on.
Well, yeah, exactly. And so, like, the fact that somebody was able to, like, tune into that frequency and hijack it during, of all things, Doctor Who.
That's very true.
Like, the conspiracy nuts, including myself, I've watched Doctor Who. If I was watching that and that came on, yeah, I'm gonna freak out.
This is a side rant, but I never got into Doctor Who, and I'm kind of upset that I didn't. And I know it's not too late.
Yeah.
But so back when Tumblr was a thing, you all know that I had one, because of course I did. And I was big on, like, the supernatural fan part of Tumblr. And I know that, like, the triad of fandoms on Tumblr was, like, Supernatural, Sherlock, and Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I only ever got into Supernatural.
I only watched the first 3 seasons of Doctor Who because I watched it while I was in Bermuda, and then they didn't have it on Canadian Netflix.
Right.
But also I was sad that the first Doctor left in season 1. That was the only season he did, and I loved him, and I was like, oh.
They change all the time.
I didn't know that going into it, so I was like, oh.
I know that because of Tumblr.
Yeah, I was like, I got too invested in this one guy. I'm done.
That's the story of my life.
Oh. But, yeah, this now being called the Max Headroom incident was the first ever computer-generated hijack, or piracy incident, which sounds super cool, even though it was literally probably just a bunch of nerds who were like, oh my god, I figured out how to do this. Quick, let's do this. But whoever it was, they were never caught to this day, and there was multiple people involved, at least, I think, 3.
So let's talk about the audio for a minute.
There was a male voice, and there wasn't, I don't think, a female voice, but there was a female-looking hand.
Yes.
So there was 2, potentially 3 people at least involved, but, like, where? Why? How?
That's the thing. Like, there was no...
And nobody took credit for it.
No. And, like Jamie said, we'll have a transcript of the audio in the description, and you can obviously go look it up for yourself as well if you want to, like, have that. But it's not as if... So when you think about a potential, like, TV broadcast hijacking, you think it's going to be something like...
Like, from Anonymous.
Like from Anonymous, like...
Greetings, citizens of America.
Maybe it's like a terroristic sort of vibe where there's a threat or there's, like, a demand. There was none of that in this.
No.
It was just a bunch of weird phrases thrown together. A lot of butt smacking, which is great. There was humming. Butt smacking's great when you're in the mood for it, but not when it's a random man with a fly swatter on national television.
Some white guy.
It's always the white guy. But that, like, it's... What baffles me about it, and I think what baffles the world about it, is just that there's no substance to it.
Yeah, they didn't seem to have, like, a plan going into it.
No.
Or, like, a script That's why I think it was something like spree of the moment, like they were like, oh my god, we figured this out, let's do it now before we lose our chance.
Right.
Which is cool, but like, what was the point?
But at the same time, it's like, it's one of those things that is like, it also feels so purposeful. Because it was so weird. Because it was so, like, cutscene. Like, they had to have things ready. So at the same, like, it absolutely does feel random and out there. But it's also very reminiscent of something that has a lot of deeper meaning that we just haven't figured out.
I mean, they might have known, like, this could make history, like, people will be talking about this in 40 years, like, and we are.
Yeah, 100%.
If they did get caught, like, is the reason nobody came forward because they could get arrested or, like, fined? Like, can you get in trouble for that? Because I feel like probably yes.
1,000% could have been fined.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if an arrest could have been made. Because this is the thing, too.
Was it illegal, or did this make it illegal to do that?
That's also a good question. But the thing is, this is going to make me very much sound like I don't know anything about technology, which you all know. Anyway, like, in terms of law, there's no way to prove or disprove whether this broadcast hijack came from within the UK, because it's a British character. Did it come from within the US because you're
especially not back then?
Yeah, you're doing it on a US show, or a US channel, sorry. So, like, what sort of statute dictates what jurisdiction that sort of criminal offense would come from? You know what I mean? Like, if you can't prove or disprove where this hijacking is taking place from, it's kind of hard to narrow down who's gonna crack down the whip, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, if this was in the US, from the US, what does the American broadcasting laws have to say? If this is from the UK because it's a British character, what do the British broadcasting laws have to say about it? Like, it's there's so many little pieces that I think they were whoever did this was kind of counting on.
Yeah.
Because it's not threatening enough of a situation for them to care enough to do a huge investigation. Yeah. But at the same time, it's unsettling because, like you said, this is the first time a hijacking like this had taken place. Yeah. Particularly on broadcast television. So they obviously don't want to take the risk of something like that happening again, so they want to kind of put their foot down as soon as they can. But how can you really put your foot down when no threat has been made? The only logical, like, genuine problem, aside from a fine for messing with the company and that sort of thing, the only logical problem I can see them having is the swearing on television when they said bend over bitch and then
the booty
and then the butt. Which, you know, in the right context can be a great thing to hear. But it's probably not something people want on daytime television.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a rant for me.
No, you're good. I would also agree with that. And, like, I guess, like, looking at the transcript in front of me, it was almost, like, taunting, like, it's all fun and games, but also they knew what they were doing, because, like, he literally says near the end, ooh, they're coming to get me. Yeah. Because he's like, somebody's not going to be happy about this, they're going to try and catch us. Yeah. And, like, people, even nowadays, are praising them for doing that. They're like, good on you guys, like, the geeks of the world stand by you, the criminals of the world stand by you, like, anyone who's been an outcast or loves technology, They're
And
all
what
like, this is pretty cool.
What a weird combination of sociological groups.
Yeah, you got the anarchists, like, you're just bringing everybody together, you know? And, like, I saw a quote on the YouTube video for it that, like, summed it up perfectly. A commenter said, "This is the most scary, non-scary thing I've ever seen in my life."
Completely accurate.
'Cause, like, it's weird and unsettling, but also, why am I unsettled?
And, okay, I've said this about 40 times today, and I'm gonna continue to say it. It's the uncanny valley aspect of having something that is so almost human, but it's not. And it was unsettling in terms of the original Max Headroom doing his own show and people knowing what to expect. But it's even more unsettling when you've taken away the typical behaviors of a character like Max Headroom and you give it this almost power.
It's kind of like when clowns, like, killer clowns.
Yes.
Clowns are supposed to be something fun at a circus.
Where you
and
know
then
what
somebody
to expect.
then twists it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When that reality is twisted just a little bit, it's unsettling because you don't know what's coming next. And I think especially for American audiences, because you said Chicago, right? Especially for American audiences who the only real, like, yes, it aired on cinema, like the Max Headroom show aired on Cinemax, but the only American experience they've had with Max Headroom is part of a show where it's guaranteed not everyone in the US was watching.
Yeah.
So you've got this foreign character with a backstory you don't understand, and it's not really even that character. It's just this complete strange phenomenon. Like, there's no other way to describe it other than just weird.
I wonder if they also maybe planned that. Like, it was on during the Doctor Who. Who usually watches that? You've got the nerds, the geeks, the families with the parents who are nerds and geeks, and, like, the people who are a little quirky. Maybe was that their, like, intended audience? Or did they just pick a random broadcasting wave and just said, let's go on?
Yeah, was it a completely random, like, let's air it where we can air it? Or was that
were they just a group of drunk people? Was it 3 high individuals who just, like, figured it out and, like, you can just tune it in like a radio, like, oh, go on channel 8. Like,
yeah, like, it baffles me.
And just people who are smart and we're having a good time.
And this is why cases like this drive me nuts, because it's just like when you're studying literature. And there's so many...
I don't do that, but...
Well, some of us. Well, actually, I do. I was going to say some of us do, but I guarantee there's probably like a handful of our listeners that are like, yeah, we do it too. But when think about like when you're in school and your teacher asks you to look for metaphors and find these like stretched metaphors, and they're like, well, why is this a symbol? Why is this a metaphor? And sometimes it's a really obscure connection that you can make to this weird idea. And sometimes the curtains were just fucking blue. Like, that's the only... The author liked blue, so they picked the color blue. And sometimes it's symbolism for the author's deep depression and, like, loneliness. But it's that exact same thing where it's like, you have no definitive way of proving whether the use of this Max Headroom character to do something like this was targeted for the sake of social commentary, because Max Headroom was such a notorious character for his social commentary, or if these people were just like, well, this guy's kind of creepy, let's do this randomly. Like, we have no way of knowing, and I want to know. I don't do well not knowing things.
I mean, also, it could be because why wasn't it a William Shatner mask?
Yeah.
Because I think Halloween had come out by then, right?
I think.
So, let me check.
Like, it could have been any sort of mask, but they had to choose Max Headroom for a reason.
Halloween had come out years before that, so...
So,
like, why was it not William Shatner?
what the hell, man? He's a nice guy.
I also want to ask, what was that background? Is it a green screen? Is it...
It's the Max Headroom back. So that's the thing.
But, like, how did they make that in wherever they were?
But that's the only part that was CGI.
Was it CGI in this as well?
Yes.
That's crazy.
So I don't know if they used... it had to be... My only assumption, because, again, I know nothing about technology and how this aspect of it works, but it had to be a green screen that they used in some capacity on the original show and in this sense to make it easier to put up the character on a computer generated background. So, like, how did they know what? Like, how? Why?
I don't know.
I'm so frustrated with this because I just don't know. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. And I need answers. And I need to be okay with the fact that I'm not going to get them.
I mean, I have 3 possible how explanations for you, if you want.
I would love that.
I don't know the why, or the who, or the where. But really... potential hows.
Okay, I was going to say, you're really letting me down on...
Sorry. The first one we already went over is, like, they were in someone's basement, geeking out, and they just figured it out, which is the most believable to me. However, others have suggested that this group or this person broke into a TV station, like a TV broadcast station, and did it, and that's why he said, like, oh, they're coming to get me because maybe security was on the way, which is possible, but feels less probable. But maybe they went to jail for treason or something, I don't know.
Definitely not for treason.
I don't know. Endangering the state, I don't know. I don't know laws in America.
Neither do most Americans, you're fine.
There was also a theory that it had to be someone from the network who was having beef with executives or higher ups for some reason, like maybe for canceling a show or something. Because this person who created this theory argues that the technology needed to make this was not accessible to the general public, and if possible, it would have been really expensive and really difficult for them to, like, get into this broadcast. So they think instead it was somebody who was, like, personally affected and wanted to be, like, get back at people.
See, that is a very interesting...
Because that checks out, because if everybody went crazy for this incident, maybe that could have sparked them the interest to restart the show or put on a new show.
So, yeah, I mean, that's really the key there, because... So 1987 is the year that the American version of Max Headroom was airing on television. Was ABC part of it? Was it someone who realized that the network didn't want to pick up on this series that they tried really hard to bring in? So what I want people to kind of think about is, like, think about The Office. Originally a British show. People said, do not bring any of this to America. Do not do a US version. Don't try to tarnish the British sense of humor and, like, the joy that the British public get out of a show like this, because it's never going to work in America.
They did, though.
And they did. Like, but that's what I mean. That's the kind of parallel example to something like this, where Max Headroom was a hilarious thing designed specifically for the British public and the British sense of humor. And when they tried to bring it to America, it didn't work very well. The Office got lucky in the sense that it clearly did end up working well for them in the end. But the first season, even first 2 seasons, they struggled with the network. the network was like, I don't know if this sense of humor is going to work here. I don't know if this is going to be able to be picked up and carried on. They didn't even know if they were going to get past the pilot of the show. So I would guess that it was a very similar experience for Max Headroom, where these creators really didn't know if they were going to get a second chance. And unfortunately for them, they didn't, because it didn't pan out super well with the American audience. So could that have been a motivator in trying to get more attention? Like, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's, like, the most plausible, I think, for me.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I feel like those guys would be the first ones to be investigated in a situation like this.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
And we never will, unfortunately.
No, I don't like that answer. I need to know.
I would too, but who knows? Maybe they'll come around, some 90-year-old grandpa will be like, that was me, and die.
I hope so. Well, I don't hope that they die.
Oh.
I would just like to know. This is why I struggle with episodes like this and talking about unknowns. Because in case you guys haven't picked up on it, I have a constant need for control. And if I can't control the knowledge that I have, then I go insane.
That is both, like, a blessing and a curse.
It's mostly a curse. It's straight up.
I would
not
say you'd
having
make,
a good
like, a great detective or something, but I feel like you would also drive yourself crazy. If you couldn't solve something.
That's the thing. I contemplated going into forensic psychology for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I still am not convinced that I have not made the wrong decision in the field of psychology that I'm in. But I also know that I could not let myself rest.
You can't save everybody.
Like, you can't. And I need to know everything all the time. And it just...
You just have to stick with Criminal Minds.
It's the only thing I can do. See? Now I'm stressing myself out.
Okay, we should go.
Ugh. But all of this to say that the Max Headroom incident was one of those weird circumstances where it made an impact, but at the same time, it wasn't threatening enough to be of concern for the future. It never happened again.
Yeah.
No one really talked about it for a while after that. There was no address from, like, the broadcasting companies. They talked about, actually, in July of last year, they talked about redoing Max Headroom and rebooting
last year.
But
it's been a while.
I haven't heard anything new about it since. But, like, a 25-second broadcast, like,
made history
for the weirdest reasons.
And we've been doing this podcast for like 2 years, and we haven't made history like that yet.
I don't know. If you ask the Scientologists, we are...
No, we don't ask the Scientologists anything.
That's true. I'm so sorry.
We don't want to get in trouble.
No, they terrify me. But no, like, the fact that such a short piece of media and a short interruption in media could cause such a panic and confusion and then have no one really look into it.
Yeah.
Is just wild to me. And it's something that I don't think could happen in the same way anymore. We see a lot of things like, I guess, like Jamie said earlier, the closest thing would be something like Anonymous giving
Speaking
like
of,
a...
Did you hear what Anonymous did recently?
No, I don't...
They released they doxed a bunch of American politicians who were like
Good.
Anti-trans,
Good.
Anti-abortion.
Good.
Like, they gave like Pornhub accounts, passwords,
Incredible.
emails, house addresses, and they said, go followers.
I am fascinated by things like the Max Headroom incident, where they've made such a difference in how people approach broadcasting and approach situations like that.
Cybersecurity.
Exactly. So, like, thinking about cybersecurity now, but like broadcasting security, it was something that people hadn't really considered because it wasn't something that was done.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was something that this person or group of people evidently thought of in the first place is just wild. Like, why? And I hate that I will never know. This is why I shouldn't have a podcast, because I just want to know the answers, and I want one of you to tell me the answer.
Someone just lie.
No, don't do that. I don't handle being lied to very well.
But just fess up. Just be honest. Just, if you were the people in charge of the Max Headroom incident, email us at creepsandcoffee at
My favorite
Gmail?
part of
Comment?
Yep, there it is. My favorite part of the solo episode was you trying to shout out our socials and then going, I don't know, Caitlin usually does that part.
Because I couldn't remember.
It's my time to shine. If you would like to let us know your thoughts on the Max Headroom incident, watch the video, see how weird it is, let us know what you think. Why do you think they did it? Who do you think they were? What was the purpose?
I dare you to try it.
Yeah, I dare you to do it. Anyway, you can let us know your thoughts on this particular topic by reaching out to us via email at creepsandcoffee@gmail.com. You can also let us know what other kinds of stories you'd like to hear us cover. We would love to hear your opinions, your perspectives, your suggestions. You can also connect with us on our Instagram and Twitter at creepsandcoffee. And if you would like to help support the show, you can follow along and maybe possibly donate some money at our Buy Me a Coffee page, which is buymeacoffee.com/creepsandcoffee. Thank you guys for being patient with us while I was sick and tired of life. And I am happy to be back. I am happy that Jamie is patient with me. And I'm hopeful that our broadcast does not get interrupted.
I dare you. Just kidding, please don't. This is all I have.
Okay, love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Creeps and Coffee is produced and edited by us, Kate and Jane.
Our theme music is Stuck in a Hole by Dated.
For more information on where to find them, check out the link in our show notes. And to connect with us, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Creeps and Coffee.